Chapter 5. I spent most of the rest of that day just relaxing, and, in a sense, waiting upon the events of that night. It is impossible now to describe my frame of mind. All fear had left me, and I was consumed with a vivid curiosity, even with a kind of eagerness. The day dragged. I slept through part of it. I ate very little. My appetite now was for something no food could satisfy, and it did not trouble me that this was so. But the night and darkness came at last, and I set myself to waiting with keen anticipation for whatever might come from that room in the attic. I waited at first downstairs, but at last I understood that it was the room above, my great-uncle Uriah's old room, where I must wait upon the events of the night in the house. So I went there and sat in the darkness. I waited while the night grew older, hearing the old clock downstairs strike the hours of 9 and 10 and 11. I expected to hear, soon, the step of the woman on the stair, the woman called Lilith, but it was the blue light that came first, seeping in under the door, as in my dream. But I was not sleeping. I was not dreaming. The blue light came, filling the room, until I could just faintly see the naked form of the woman and the shaping form of great-uncle Uriah looming up, with a writhing, twisting, serpentine coil reaching out from where he was taking shape to where I sat on the bed. And then something more, something that filled me with sudden terror. I smelled smoke, and I heard the crackling of flames. And from outside came Rhoda's voice calling, "Adam! Adam!" The vision collapsed. The last thing I saw was the expression of terrible rage on my great-uncle's spectral face, the fury on the face of the woman changing in that light from that of a lissom girl to that of an ancient hag. Then I flung myself to the window and opened it. "Rhoda!" I cried. She had taken no chances. There was a ladder up against the windowsill. The house burned to the ground with everything in it. Its burning did not affect my great-uncle's will. As Mr. Saltonstall put it, I had been fulfilling his condition when circumstances beyond my control made it impossible to continue. So I did inherit the property, and I sold it, and Rhoda and I were married. In spite of her insistently feminine delusions. "I set fire to it myself," she said. She had spent the day after she had left with my papers and books at the library of Miskatonic University, famed for its collection of arcane books, studying witchcraft lore. She had concluded that the spirit animating the house and responsible for the events in it was that of great-uncle Uriah Garrison, and that his sole reason for the condition that I must live there was to place me within his reach, so that he could usurp my own life force and take possession of my body. The woman was a succubus, perhaps his mistress. The mouse hole obviously an opening into another dimension. Trust a woman to construe some kind of romantic angle out of even the most curious events. Succubus indeed. There are times, even now, when her notions affect me. From time to time, I find myself unsure of my own identity. Am I Adam Duncan? Or Uriah Garrison? It does no good to mention it to Rhoda. I did so once, and she said only, "It seems to have improved you, Adam." Women are fundamentally not rational creatures. Nothing will shake her free of the notions about the house on Aylesbury Street. It annoys me that I find myself unable to come up with a more rational explanation myself, one that will satisfy all the questions that occur to me when I sit down and think about the events in which I played a small, if motivating, part.